Welcome into another week here on MPW Digital. I'm Neal McCready. Chase Parham out this week. He is at Disney World with his family. So hopefully he and Kara and their family can enjoy a nice, Carly Ann can enjoy a nice, exciting week together. He's earned it, certainly. He's worked hard all summer, all year. So he'll be out this week. I'll be with you today, working on some things for the rest of the week. It's going to be probably not a typical week just because we're having some work done on our house on Wednesday that I'm afraid the house is going to be just too loud to possibly do a podcast. I don't know what time they're getting here, so maybe we'll be able to squeeze something in that morning. I kind of doubt it. Working on some things for tomorrow, for later in the week. We'll have McCready and Siski today. Should have it on Thursday. I think that's the plan. And then I don't know about the whole entire week. And then, of course, next week, things kind of start getting together for real. Ole Miss reports a week from tomorrow for practice. Media day is a week from Wednesday, I believe. And then, of course, we get rolling into the season. A lot to get to today. Tragic news yesterday that we'll get to in a moment. First, I want to tell you that this show brought to you each and every day by our great friends at BlueSky. Still a week and a half, 2 weeks to go in summer vacation. If you're out traveling around, make sure you stop at a BlueSky. In or out on your way in or out of Mississippi is what I'm trying to say. I'm stumbling through my words this morning. Great, always a great place to fill up. Always going to have the competitive prices. Clean at the pump. They're going to take care of you. And on the inside, it's going to be always nice. Clean restrooms. Great place to get snacks, get a plate lunch, beer selection, and more. So wherever you're traveling, in or out of Mississippi, when you see a BlueSky, you know that is a reliable place to stop. Guest will join on the Campbell Clinic hotline. Gabe DeArmond of PowerMizzou.com will join here in the next, 15, 20 minutes on the Campbell Clinic hotline. For fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions, the pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized pediatric orthopedic team in North Mississippi providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit CampbellClinicOxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111. I'm in the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi. You can call them at 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that is hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Chase did ask me to also tell you that we're brought to you by our friends at New Albany Pharmacy and Solutions, located at 140 Fairfield Drive in New Albany, Mississippi. You can contact them at 662-539-7777. New Albany Pharmacy and Solutions is a family-owned pharmacy with excellent service and a wide range of gifts for all ages, as well as home decor, jewelry, and more. Tell them you heard about them from MPW Digital, and you'll get 15% off any non-medical purchase. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you would in the stream. If you're not following us, if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, do us a favor, hit the like button, leave a 5-star review. Even if you say terrible things, you can say that Neal's really bald and ugly. That's okay. Just hit 5 stars. That'll be great for us. We would appreciate it. Hit the follow button, the subscribe button, and you can turn notifications off if you'd like. That's fine. Just hit the follow button. The higher our numbers go, the more we get to do. We've got an annual meeting coming up with our friends at Blue Wire, who've been awesome with us, and so obviously the higher our numbers are, the more we get to do with them, and that ultimately helps you guys as well. A couple of questions I saw in the stream while I was taking care of some things. Actually, Gabe a little early here. Get to Gabe. Bear with me here 1 second as I get to Gabe.
Hello.
Gabe DeArmond covers Missouri for PowerMizzou.com. Gabe, thank you for being with us on the show. How are you? Well, Gabe's probably having some audio issues. Yeah, hang tight. He's trying to figure that out.
There you are. There you are. You were frozen for a minute, but now I see you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, sometimes I feel kind of frozen. That's par for the course this summer a little bit.
Yeah, I have. It's thunderstorming here and terrible weather, so it is. It is possible that is interfering with my wonderful internet connection. We'll see.
We'll get to you in just 1 second. Hang tight. I do want to lead with this. I'd be remiss if I didn't. Tragedy yesterday for hit the Ole Miss football program. More importantly, it hit the Adams family out of New Orleans. Corey Adams, freshman defensive end for Ole Miss, was gunned down on Saturday night in Cordova, Tennessee. This is one of those deals, Gabe will appreciate what I'm about to say. I've heard a lot of different things. I haven't confirmed those things. I do not think it would be remotely responsible to speculate without confirmation on things that I've heard. I will simply say that there were, according to multiple sources, there were multiple Ole Miss players, most of whom appear to be freshmen. Best I can tell, they might all be freshmen. I'm just not positive on that. We're at what I think was a house party in Cordova. Something obviously happened. Someone, to my knowledge, that's not known who that is. No arrest, at least as of this morning, have been made to the best of my knowledge. If there have been, I haven't seen media reports of those arrests. Multiple shots were fired. I have heard from enough people to think that it's probably true that at least one other Ole Miss player was struck with a non-life-threatening injury. I've heard there are bigger numbers than that. I don't know that to be true, so I'm not going to get into the speculation business on that. Corey Adams was struck. Medics worked on him at the scene. He was, according to media reports, declared dead at the scene. He was 18 years old, from New Orleans, played at Edna Carr High School. I went back into my social media to see how much interaction he had last year. We'd had some around his commitment time. I had communicated with people close to him during his commitment time, and to say that they were super excited for his future and super proud of the young man is an understatement. Just an absolute tragedy. I could sit here and get on a soapbox. I don't know enough about it to get on a soapbox. Obviously, somebody was armed and somebody just started firing shots. I don't know if more than one person fired shots. I don't know. To my knowledge, that investigation is ongoing, and I've not seen any reports from that investigation, and I'm not going to speculate. But obviously, thoughts and prayers to Corey's family, all of his friends, his former teammates at Edna Carr, his former coaches at Edna Carr, to his current teammates at Ole Miss, his coaches at Ole Miss, to anyone who knew and loved him. Condolences. There are no words. There's no way to. There's no spin on something like this. It's just horrific. As a father of an 18-year-old, Gabe's a dad. It's unimaginable. So with that, there's no segue. Gabe DeArmond covers Missouri for PowerMizzou.com. Gabe, thanks for spending some time with us here on this Monday morning.
Yeah, that was the first story I saw when I woke up this morning, and like that. What you ended with is kind of my thought is, look, we both got kids in that age range. My kids both live kind of near big cities. I know your oldest daughter does too. Like, you just kind of wake up every day and hope nothing happened. Yeah. Awful stuff. And like, nobody. I always think during this stuff, like, we don't have to know exactly what happened right away. Whatever, it'll all come out. That's not really a big deal at this point. To like fans and stuff like that. I'm sure his family really wants to know details, but it'll all come out in time. But horrible stuff, man.
Yeah. I'm not a gun person, and so whenever I hear these stories or read these stories, I never fully understand how something gets to a place that someone just opens fire.
Right.
It's mind-boggling to me. And I know there are lots of gun people who never open fire. I get it. Believe me, the 99.99999%. So that's not a political comment at all. It's just mind-boggling to me that you can be an 18-year-old kid getting ready to start your first preseason camp as a college player in college, from New Orleans. You're getting ready to get started on this exciting, interesting chapter of your life, and you go to a party on a Saturday night, and that's that. It's just, and then the part that I, even more can't imagine is somebody, and I don't know who, had to pick up a phone and call his family late Saturday, early Sunday, and deliver the unspeakable news. And I can't imagine being on either end of that phone. That's the nightmare.
Yeah, and like, I see all these things on Instagram and stuff, and think back to like when we were kids. Like, it was like, I don't know, I'm going outside. Call me when dinner's ready. And now we've got tracking apps on our kids, and it's like, where are you going to be, and who are you going to? And there are reasons. It's not like we're just spying on our children. It's you kind of need it now to make sure that they get home okay. And it's not Memphis, it's not Chicago. It's like, this stuff happens in Columbia, man. I'm sure it happens in Oxford.
It really hasn't.
Probably not as much.
Yeah, it hasn't really gotten to Oxford as much, and I think there's an immunity that you feel like you have when you're here at a place like this. Don't get me wrong, Oxford has crime, but really haven't had that level of crime happen here, at least not regularly. But you're right. I mean, I saw people do the whole Memphis thing, and look, Memphis has a world of problems. There's no escaping it. There's no point in pretending that it doesn't. But you're right. This happens everywhere. Every big city and every moderate city is. We have a. It's just I'll get my brief spot on the soapbox, then I'll get off. I don't know details. I don't know what happened, but I do think there's a lack of value on just life. I think there's whether that's social, cultural, age, generational. I don't know, man. I'm just a dumb sports writer. I'm not that plugged in. I'm sure there are people who could dive into this and really break it down intelligently. If Josh Hendrickson were sitting right here, I'd probably just hand him the microphone and leave the room for 10 minutes, and maybe he could break it down. But I do think there's a devaluation of life, that when you pull out a weapon and you just start firing, you have to be cognizant of the fact that what you're firing, every round you fire is potentially lethal, could take someone's life and impact, the butterfly effect of lives that get impacted when something like that happens. And I don't know that people are as cognizant of that today as maybe they were when you and me were kids. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe that's just us getting old. And I mean, I was watching some of the Cubs Red Sox game yesterday, and it's very clear that Ryan Sandberg, the former Cubs legend, is the end of his life due to cancer may be pretty close, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, over the weekend, John Lester, Kerry Wood, both were throwing out ceremonial first pitches or whatnot, and they both wore Ryan Sandberg jerseys. Former Cubs legend, Cardinals pitcher Rick Sutcliffe was at the Hall of Fame and took a picture with Ryan Sandberg's, plaque or bust or whatnot. And I mean, there's a lot of the Cubs had Jed Hoyer, their president of baseball operations, in the booth, like in the third inning, and he spent the first 2 minutes of his appearance talking about Ryan Sandberg. And I was just thinking, I was nostalgic yesterday, thinking about I was 14 when the Cubs had that magical 1984 season where Wrigley Field like came to life, and I mean, Jed Hoyer acknowledged that year made a lot of people Cub fans for life. And I was a Cub fan before that, but that year cemented it. And he was I was a special player. I mean, he was the guy that, like, people say, who have you ever met that you were intimidated by? And for me, I was in Chicago. It was the Friday night before the Saints-Bears NFC title game. And I was at Harry Carey's just in the bar. I was working on a story about how Bears fans were tired of hearing about Katrina, the hurricane. And Ryan Sandberg was there, just being a normal person. And people were taking stuff to him and asking him to autograph it. And he was doing it. You could kind of tell he was a little like, hey, I'm just trying to hang out with my wife here. But all I got the nerve to say to him was, you were my hero as a kid. I just, thanks.
Yeah.
And that was it, but I was so nervous. I probably stuttered it out. And I mean, you know how it is. We talk to athletes and coaches and stuff. I mean, they're just people to us, but he was,
right.
He was bigger than life. And so yesterday, as all that was happening, I was just kind of thinking about how it feels like when I was a kid is much different than it does like with my kids at this point. Like the world's a different world.
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Ryan Sandberg and Dale Murphy were like the first two non-Kansas City Royals I really knew because, everybody got TBS and WGN. Those were the teams that were on TV, right? They were mostly horrible, like you said, till 1984. My intimidated to meet a pro athlete guy was Marcus Allen. I was a 19-year-old intern at a TV station in Kansas City and went to interview Marcus Allen after a Monday Night Football game in Kansas City. And that was, I'm sure the questions were excellent. It was like the Chris Farley Saturday Night Live sketch. Hey, remember that time in the third quarter where you scored that touchdown? Yeah. That was awesome. That was probably me.
I'll tell you a funny story that you made me just realize that I was working in Mobile. It was summer. And my sports editor, the late John Cameron, was known for his disorganization. And it's June, July, I don't know. I wasn't working. It was a Friday night, maybe a Saturday night, but I was not working. And I get a phone call, and he's basically panicked. I need you to go down to the Civic Center right now. And I was like, what happened? Why? And he's like, there's a beauty contest down there. There's a Miss Alabama contest. And I was like, yeah, I need more. And he said, Dan Marino was one of the judges. I need you to go down there and talk to Dan Marino and do a Dan Marino story. I'm completely unprepared. I mean, I've had no time at all to think about what I would ask Dan Marino. And he's like, you got about 20 minutes. You need to go. And so I went, and there's Dan Marino in the hallway of the Mobile Civic Center. And I walk up
judging Miss Alabama.
Yeah, like I want to say it was like Miss Teen Alabama or something. Insert political joke here. But
right.
I was like, I didn't know whether to call him Dan, Mr. Marino. I'm completely unprepared. I don't know whether he knows I'm coming. Nothing. I know nothing. I don't have a story angle in mind. I'm just nothing. And I was kind of like, yeah, you remember that time when you were a rookie and you guys went to the Super Bowl? You remember that? And as the interview unfolded, I'm like, my God, he hates me. I hate me. I hate John. I hate everything. I could feel the sweat like starting to pool, in the back of your neck. And you're just, somehow we ended up getting into something that kind of worked. But man, it was bad. That was bad.
The underrated part of that story is that your sports editor at the time was apparently Ed Orgeron. So,
he sounded sort of like Ed Orgeron especially when he got agitated, which was frequently when he dealt with me. He was a big Alabama fan, and I covered Auburn as a beat, and he never could. The sports editor of the newspaper never could get through his mind that, dude, I don't care if Auburn wins or loses. I'm cheering for early kickoffs and fast games, whatever. I'm not cheering for or against the Tigers. And he always thought that I approached it through some Auburn lens. And I was like, dude, if anything, I grew up an Alabama fan. Both of my parents have degrees from Alabama. And, I remember more about Alabama than I never knew anything about Auburn, really, other than they were the rival. And suddenly I'm covering Auburn as a beat writer, and you're just doing your job. And he never could kind of get that.
I always hated hey, a famous person is here, let's go talk to them and do a story about them being here idea. Like, there's got to be some what interests people in Mobile about Dan Marino? Like, he went to Pittsburgh. He's the Dolphins quarterback. Maybe they like isotoner gloves. That's what I remember Dan Marino for when I was a kid. But like, I remember even when
this was pre-OJ, this was pre, I guess. Well, no, I guess OJ had happened. I could have said, I don't know. I didn't think of that angle.
But I'm just trying to figure out what now there is a story to be done about Dan. Why were you judging Miss Teen Alabama? What happened here? Can we just hang out after this and see where it goes? But it's not a story anybody wants written, including Dan Marino.
If I told you 15 years ago you'd be judging Miss Teen Alabama, would you? What would you have thought?
Is this the highlight of your professional career?
Dan? Do you hate your agent right now? How much do you?
Dan, can you break down these candidates? A couple of them are 18. A couple of them are 16. Just tell us what you think.
When you're judging these girls, what are you thinking? Like, what are you projecting? Are you trying to just focus on the talent? What's kind of going through your mind?
The interview segment, how big was that for you?
How important is world peace to you, Miss Kansas? I'm going to start with this because you're a big golf guy. I'm not. Scotty Scheffler wins the Open yesterday. And, for the longest time, Gabe, everybody said that there's never going to be another Tiger. Never going to be another Tiger Woods. And Tiger Woods, for me, was one of those, like, transformational people. I would watch golf on Sunday if Tiger was coming down I either wanted to see him lose or I wanted to see him win. And kind of early in his career, I wanted to see him lose. After a while, I think when he became more human, I wanted to see him win. I cheered for him. But he was one of those people that absolutely, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, those kinds of people that even if you're not into the sport, they draw you into the sport. You want to see what they do. Probably Babe Ruth back in the day, had there been television, right? He's one of those kind of people. Scotty Scheffler's kind of getting there. And if you look at the numbers, I'm reading from The Athletic. With his Open Championship yesterday, Scheffler won his fourth major, 1,197 days after he won his first. Distance between majors number 1 and 4 for Tiger Woods, 1,197 days. Scheffler, 29, is also the fourth player to win the Open Championship, the U.S. Open, and the Masters before the age of 30. The other three, Tiger Woods, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus. Scheffler can win the career Grand Slam next year at the U.S. Open, where the final round will coincidentally fall on his 30th birthday. He theoretically has 8 to 10 years, again, I'm reading from The Athletic, 8 to 10 years of prime golf in him, which is a minimum of 32 major appearances, barring setbacks. He's won 4 of his last 15 major starts. If he keeps that pace, he has 12 majors by the time he's 38. That would put him third all-time, only behind Woods with 15 and Nicklaus with 18. It's as the Athletic says, it's an ambitious projection, but not implausible. He says, the thing that feels most Woodsian to me, Scheffler has won 10 straight tournaments in which he's had a 54-hole lead. It's nowhere near Woods' longest streak, 36, which is just a hilarious number, he says, but the feeling of inevitability is there. We haven't felt that way since Tiger's Sunday Red meant something.
So, like, numbers wise, I get the comps and all that. Like, every time a great athlete retires, all we want to know is who's the next one, right? We had to have the Jordan LeBron debate. LeBron's on the way out. So, who's the next guy we're going to put in that conversation? This is what we do. But he doesn't feel like Tiger Woods to me. Not skill level, golf level, whatever. That's a different conversation. But I was telling a couple friends yesterday, he is so efficient and it's just so robotic and he's just normal that, like, it's not must see television. Like, I'm a big golf guy. I was on the road, so I didn't see the Open Thursday through Saturday. I was really looking forward to turning it on, and that was going to be my Sunday. And 15 minutes in, Scotty Scheffler had a 7-stroke lead, and I thought, well, there's nothing here. This doesn't interest me.
It's why
if that's Tiger Woods, I'm watching.
It's why I went ahead and sent you a text yesterday, because it was over. I knew you were planning to watch, and I was like, well, I'm not going to disturb him while he's watching the Open. And I looked at it and I'm like, well, the Open's over. I mean, unless Scheffler just decides to start throwing his clubs into the water.
I didn't watch it. I mean, I turned it off. I didn't see him play the last 12 holes, and recognize greatness, all appreciated. But, like, he doesn't have that. I've got to watch him play. Like, if he's not involved in a major, I'll still watch it. If it's competitive down the stretch, I want, Rory, Xander, whoever it is. That's all well and good. There are a bunch of guys like him. Whereas between 2000 and 2010, if Tiger wasn't in contention, 80% of your audience either watched when he was playing 3 hours before the leaders or just didn't watch the tournament. Like, he was the entire show. And that's not, and I actually wrote a little bit about this morning. I don't know if you saw his comments before the tournament.
I heard, I saw a little bit about, it was basically about, hey, my life is not, my happiness is not defined by what happens in golf.
Yeah, it was a 5.5-minute answer of, like, every waking moment of my life is built around winning these tournaments. And then I win one and I'm happy for like 2 minutes. And then it's, hey, are you going to win the next one? Hey, are you going to win 10 more? And he kind of was saying, he's like, what's the point? And it was such a human, refreshing answer. Like, the thing I like about Scheffler is that he just seems like a normal guy. Like, he's a guy that you and I would hang out and have a drink with after a football game. But I think what makes these athletes must see TV is, like, you can't ever think about, I would like to sit down and have a beer with Tiger Woods. He, like, lives on a different planet than you and I do. And Scotty Scheffler seems not to, which makes him hugely, like, I like him, but he's not must see TV for me. He does not seem like this transformational athlete to me.
Well, when Woods came onto the scene, he was kind of brash, and he didn't seem to fully respect his elders. And I'm not saying he should have, don't get me wrong, but it made it easy to be like, who's this kid, man? And then he blew up the Masters and he won by like 20 something strokes. And you're like, son of a bitch. But he was kind of hateable early. And then his life had chaos, total chaos. And some people, as people tend to do, reveled in that chaos. And other people were like, man, I kind of feel really bad for this guy. And then he starts trying to put it back together. And as he does, people like me who used to cheer for Mickelson against him, suddenly I'm like, man, I want Tiger to win so bad. Like, where's that about? He had that ability to impact you. And I'm not a golf guy. I don't watch a lot of golf. But Scheffler just seems like you said, just this really nice guy. Seems to be in a really happy marriage, loves his kids, golf's his dream. He's fulfilling his dream. He knows he's kind of a lucky guy. He's kind of probably a little boring, and everyone just likes him, and he's not hateable. Like, it's hard to come up with, like, man, I really hate this Scheffler guy. Like Muhammad Ali.
To be drawn to a guy, there has to be a divide, right? Like, the Jordan LeBron debate only works if there are people on LeBron's side. Right? If everybody just says Jordan, there's no debate. And I find it funny, and only probably the golf geek, like, if Chase was on here, we could get into this conversation. But, like, Brooks Koepka basically said the same thing that Scotty Scheffler just said like 6 years ago. He basically said, I don't even like golf that much. I just happen to be really good at it. So I come out here and win. And people were all pissed off and they hate Brooks Koepka for that. And now Scheffler basically says, yeah, I don't know. Why is it that big a deal? And we're all like, oh, that's awesome. And I don't know what the difference is, but yeah, but there has to be that segment of people that is rooting against him for him. Like, the original golf rivalry was everybody loved Arnold Palmer so much. And then Jack Nicklaus came on the scene and a lot of people really didn't want him to win because, man, Arnie was the guy, and then you go fast forward to 1986, which was one of the first majors I really remember when Jack wins, and he's the sentimental favorite because he's this old guy, right? And they say you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. Like the golfers are the opposite. You're the villain at the beginning, and you live long enough to become the hero.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about just athletes in general, I mean, Ali's a good example. There were people who just hated him, because of his political stance or whatnot. And then, by the end of his career, when he came back and beat Leon Spinks to reclaim the title, it was like this magical moment. And then at the end of his career, when he's being beaten by, George Foreman and others, everyone felt pitiful, about it. Like, oh, this has to stop, make it stop. And Barry Bonds, like you could love him, you could hate him, but you watched. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was literally maybe the last baseball player who could stop whatever you were doing. He came to plate, ESPN broke in, and you're like, yeah, I get it. I understand why they're breaking in. I'm watching. I mean, I don't know that baseball has that guy anymore. Not if maybe Ohtani, but probably
Ohtani.
Yeah, probably nobody. Those kinds of, I mean, Tom Brady, I guess. I mean, there just aren't that many athletes who truly are riveting. And I don't think Scheffler's that, but from a greatness standpoint, he's dominating a sport at a time when people said, well, the sport's not dominate. You can't dominate golf. I don't think dominatable is a word. It should be. Should be a word.
I'd use it. You can make it one.
You can make it that. You have to put the hyphen in there, and then it would get weird. But you're not supposed to be able to dominate golf. There's so many great players. They all play the same way. They're all really strong. They all knock the ball 300 and something yards down the fairway. And no one's supposed to be able to dominate the sport, and yet he's dominating the sport.
I saw a post this morning that said Scotty Scheffler has basically had Jordan Spieth's career since April of 2024. Like he has like 10 or 12 wins and 3 majors and everything Jordan Spieth's done since he came on the scene in 2014. Scotty Scheffler's done in the last 15 months.
All right, let's talk football. Our SEC Media Days were last week. Neither you nor I were there.
Shame. They were a significantly worse event. I got a number of messages that were like, it just doesn't seem like the same deal. You're not here and Neal's not here. And
yeah, I got a lot.
I don't know. It seems more like the Mountain West Media Days now.
Yeah. Eli Drinkwitz sent me a text saying, why are you and Gabe not here? I'm so sad. No, but the voting came out on Friday. I give the league credit. They have turned SEC Media Days from a 3-day event where it felt long to now a 5-day event. And it takes some skill to do it. They did it. Yeah. The votes are out. Let's see if I got this right. Predicted order of finish. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, top 4. South Carolina, Florida, Ole Miss is 7. Texas A&M, 8. Tennessee, 9. Oklahoma, Auburn, Missouri is 11th.
12.
Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Mississippi State rounding it out. I'll start overall. We'll get to your Tigers in a minute, but you got any major issues with that overall? I find it difficult to get worked up about preseason polls, but
yeah, I don't care because I know the people who are voting for this, and most of them are actually less qualified to do it than I am, and I'm not qualified. So, so I don't care. But like, I think you would agree with this. Most people think you put them in whatever order you want. Alabama, Georgia, Texas are the top 3 teams in this league, right?
I actually think LSU belongs in that group, but sure.
I think the consensus would be those
4. Yeah, but I don't have a big argument there. Sure.
I think most would agree Arkansas, Kentucky, Vandy, Mississippi State. In some order, those are the bottom 4 teams in this league.
For sure. Yeah. Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Arkansas State. Yep.
Yeah. So take 4 or 5 through 12. You simulate this season 100 times, you're going to get 100 different orders of finish. Do you know what the difference between finishing 4th and 9th in the SEC was last year?
It was very narrow.
It was a tiebreaker. They were all 5-3. There were 6 teams that finished 5-3.
Is that right? I don't even remember that.
Yeah. I looked it up this morning because I was kind of making this point of like the difference between 5th and 12th in this league is going to be like 2 plays all season long. So I was saying, like, I think Missouri will finish higher than 12th, but a good team's a pretty decent team is going to finish in 12th place in this league. This is what happened. Like, 4th place is going to be 5-3, and 12th place is going to be 3-5. So over the course of whatever 2,000 snaps in a season, you're talking about 3 snaps being the difference between 4th place and 12th place in the league, which is why. And now, don't get me wrong. If I'm Drinkwitz, if I'm Hugh Freeze, if I'm Brent Venables, I'm using this poll and convincing my team that everyone hates them and thinks they're no good. It's just not actually like somebody has to go 12th. If I could argue, I can make an argument Missouri finishes ahead of Ole Miss, but Ole Miss 7th and Missouri 12th. Like, they're basically saying we think Ole Miss makes one play during this season that Missouri doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing with Missouri is that Missouri and Ole Miss over the last few years have had really similar results. Right. You know, they've been like right on the cusp. They haven't quite gotten there. They've won some big games, haven't been able to capitalize on winning those big games. Ole Miss finished 7th. I said all week I thought they'd be 5th through 7th, somewhere in there, along with South Carolina and Florida. I thought you could take those 3 and just sort of throw them in a hat. I've seen people make these passionate arguments for why South Carolina is overrated. And I'm like, I don't know, whatever. I mean, they're going to play games, right? South Carolina is going to play. South Carolina, Florida, and Ole Miss are all going to play each other. We're gonna figure it out.
And see, that's the part of it that I don't know, and I don't think most people who voted know. Like, you have to look at the schedules because the schedules aren't the same, so they have to impact where teams are going to. Like, of those top 4 teams you mentioned, Missouri plays 1. Of the bottom 4, they play 3. So Missouri might be the 12th best team in this league, but finish better than 12th just because the schedule dictates it.
So that's my question. So I think the media is giving, understandably, Lane Kiffin the benefit of the doubt here.
Yes.
They lost Jackson Dart. They lost Trey Harris. They lost Jordan Watkins. They lost Caden Priestcorn. They lost Ulysses Bentley. Micah Pettis transferred. Everybody makes fun of Micah Pettis, but he played a whole lot of snaps. I mean, everybody's like, well, he sucks. Well, he played for 3 years. They lost other people. And then on defense, they damn near lost everyone. I mean, 9 starters gone off of a dominant defense from a year ago. And yet, people pick them to finish in the upper half of the league. Missouri lost a lot. Yet they've been winning. Why did Eli Drinkwitz not get the same benefit of the doubt, in your opinion, that Lane Kiffin did?
I mean, Lane has been doing it longer, right? I mean, he's got a longer track record of success than Drinkwitz does. He's been at 2 or 3 different schools. I understand he wasn't maybe great at SC and Tennessee, but like, he won there. You know, it wasn't like he was a 500 coach at those places. So I think that's part of it. Lane's great on social media. Right. I mean, he's great on social media. And it's funny. I actually said something about this last week. Like, somebody asked me who does the best press conference or who's the best quote among head coaches in the SEC. And I said, I actually think it's Drinkwitz, because Kiffin, like, he's great on social media, but his press conferences aren't all that good. Like, he doesn't crack me up. When he gets to talking about certain things off football, I think he's really good. But like, he has to decide if he wants to be good, right?
100%.
In a press conference.
Some days, man, he walks in for local ones sometimes, and you can see it in the body language. I'm like, we're not going to be here long at all. Like,
yeah. And I do the same thing with Drinkwitz. Don't get me wrong. There are days where you're like, oh, this is bad Drinkwitz. We're not getting anything here. But like, when he gets on a stage at SEC Media Days, I generally think he's the best, probably the best quote in the league, or at least in the conversation. But look, Lane's really good at PR, and he's been around, and he's a recognizable guy. And I think that's part of it. But the bigger part is this. I actually got a text from somebody we both know. I was, like you said, not at SEC Media Days, but whenever Drinkwitz was talking in the room, I got a text from somebody and said, dude, there is nobody here for this Drinkwitz thing. And I said, well, it's real simple. Well, first of all, it's the last day. Second of all, Missouri did a thing for the local guys beforehand. So the local guys don't go waste their time listening to, people ask Eli Drinkwitz about, what do you think about playing Arkansas's defensive ends in late November? Nobody cares. But the other part is also, I mean, Neal, you know this, man. It's an old boy network in the SEC.
Yep.
And Missouri hadn't been here long enough or been good enough that the old boys that are at this thing are ever thinking about them, right? Like, South Carolina is going to get a benefit of the doubt Missouri doesn't get. So is Arkansas. So the frustrating part probably for Missouri fans is so are Texas, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. Now Texas and Oklahoma deserve it. We could discuss Texas A&M stock, which is never higher than it is every mid-July. But it's just part of the deal, right? Like I think we're past the point of like, does Missouri belong in this league? We're 14 years in. I don't know they're in this league. So whatever. I don't think it's that. I just think it's outside of Missouri and a couple guys that really get bothered by it that cover Arkansas or South Carolina. Nobody really thinks of Missouri in this league.
I guess so.
Like, I don't think it's a negative feeling. I think it's just, oh yeah, they're there.
I think it helps that they got away from divisions finally, because for the longest time, and we made the joke, it was like week after week after week, and it never really stopped being kind of funny. It's like you put Missouri in the East. Like, they're so far west. How the hell is Missouri in the East? And it was like, well, we had to shoehorn this thing and we had to make it work. And it's like, yeah, but that doesn't make any sense at all. And it was, to your point,
Alabama wanted to play Tennessee and Auburn wanted to be in Alabama's division.
It happened because they were protecting the big boys. They were protecting the good old boys, the ones that had been there the longest and who said, hey, these are things that matter to us. And the league went, okay, well, we'll screw Missouri. We'll figure it out down the road.
Like, think about, go back 15 years. Why would Tennessee and Auburn fight so hard to play Alabama? Like, how different do the last 15 years of those programs look if they're not banging their head against Nick Saban every single year?
I mean,
I would have said, put me in the East, baby. Kentucky, Vanderbilt, I'm in. The West or whatever division it was.
Yeah, I mean, if Tennessee could have a do-over and say, so there's a way we don't have to play Alabama every year?
Right.
Really? Like, what's that way? Sign me up.
You know how fast their fans would get over the third Saturday in November or October or whenever it is not being against Alabama? Take about 2 years.
I guess. I mean, it kind of leads me into the next, thing, which is the league is clearly not going to do the ninth game, even though fans would probably love the ninth game. The league's not all that interested in making the schedules more difficult, understandably, because of the playoff thing, yet the fans lose in that. I mean, yes. The prices have never been higher. I don't have Missouri's schedule in front of me, but I'll do Ole Miss's for a minute, and this applies to everyone. The prices have never been higher. It's expensive. It's more expensive now to go to a game than it's been in a long time. They're hitting you up for, seat licenses. It's cost to park. At Ole Miss this year coming up, it's the first year that it's going to cost to tailgate in the Grove, which is a huge part of the tradition at Ole Miss football.
Got to pay the salaries.
Got to pay the players. And then, hey, we're going to play Georgia State. We're going to play the Citadel. I mean, this year Ole Miss does play Tulane and Washington State. That's not egregiously bad, but we're going to play. In the past, it was ULM and Southeastern Louisiana and games of that nature, where there's a 0% chance that the team you're coming to watch loses. There's also a 0% chance this game's competitive. You know that going in, and yet if you don't come, and I'm not picking on a lane here, they all do it. If you don't come and there's nobody there, the coach is going to make some smart-ass comment about there's not being any fans there. And the coach, meanwhile, he makes almost $10 million a year. There's no way he relates to the guy who's making an economic decision about do we or do we not drive to Oxford from Nashville this weekend.
Well, and I completely agree with you. I've wanted more good games for a long time. But let's say Ole Miss replaces its 2, maybe 3 terrible non-conference games. I don't know exactly their schedule with just not even. I'm not even talking like heavyweights. What if they play Nebraska, NC State, and Arizona? I mean, there is a non-zero chance they lose those games.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
They'd probably still be favored, may go 3-0 in those games. But what puts more butts in seats and gets more dollars in the coffer? The chance to come see them play Nebraska or the chance to be 10-2?
Oh, 10-2.
Or 11-1.
Oh,
right.
No, they're making the right decision. It's the
Yes.
irony of it is that the people who ultimately sort of pay for that decision are the fans.
I agree. There's two groups of people who don't want 9 games and don't want tougher non-conference schedules. Number one is the group that has legitimate national championship hopes, right? Like if you are Georgia, Texas, Alabama, you don't need that extra game, because you don't get rewarded for that extra game. Alabama saw last year, Indiana got rewarded for not having the game. So completely get it from that standpoint. The other group, and Drinkwitz called this out at SEC Media Days, it's the guys that are fighting to get to a bowl game. The guys that are trying to be 6-6 want to be able to go to their ADs and say, man, we made 7 straight bowl games and you owe me $150,000 for making that one. And I mean, making a bowl game really requires these days is going 2-6 in the SEC.
Yeah.
Like you're probably going 4-0 non-conference. So if you can beat Mississippi State and Arkansas, you're going to a bowl game in this league. That's not really an accomplishment anymore. But it is a thing they get a bonus for, and they'll be able to say if they're up for another job or if they ever get fired. Well, I don't know, guys. I went to 13 bowl games in 15 years. I don't know what they were expecting there. So
yeah, well, and we make fun of the bowls. You and I both make fun of the bowls. You and I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head where Missouri played in the bowl last year. Forgive me. Which
Nashville, Music City.
Music City sort of proves my point. Ole Miss played in the Gator Bowl against Duke 10 years ago. That would have been super exciting for Ole Miss people. 9-3 going to the Gator Bowl to play on January the 2nd, and it felt like an exhibition. I mean, Ole Miss,
which half the players didn't even want to play.
I mean, they played because that was a unique group of guys, and a lot of guys were determined to see it through the end, but there's an alternate universe where 15 of those guys don't play. Duke had their quarterback didn't play. He transferred. He was gone to North Carolina, to Tulane. I don't know, somewhere he left. It was a weird game is my point. We're in Jacksonville. It's January the 2nd. The stadium's a quarter full. It was a weird juxtaposition, yet the TV ratings were good. People watch football. It comes on, they watch it. So
Yeah.
I keep waiting for the TV networks to push back and go, no, look, man, we're not doing this. We're not doing this Missouri Louisiana Tech game. We're not doing this Ole Miss South Alabama game. We don't want it. We want Missouri Kansas. We want Ole Miss Iowa. We want something that we can market. We want something that's got some national appeal. And until you do that, we're not. But that's not what they do. They're just like, here's more money, do it.
Well, because South Carolina versus the Citadel is better than anything else they can put on because it's at least live foot. The only sports I watch on television are live games. I don't watch the debate shows. I'll watch some of the documentaries, but I've got no desire to watch these guys talking about anything they talk about. Really, Dak Prescott contract value doesn't interest me. So they need programming on these apps and on these channels. And the best programming you can get is live games. And it doesn't really matter who's playing them. A live game is better than anything else that's going to be in its place. I also think we've gotten to this point where what made college football great for so long was that it wasn't really about winning a national title. That Ole Miss, for the vast majority of your time covering them, didn't have any real chance to win a national title. Missouri, for the vast majority of my time covering them, hasn't had any real chance to win a national title. Well, that's changed a little bit now, right? With the play, what I like about playoff expansion is it keeps so many more fans interested for so much longer. Because even if Ole Miss or Missouri's or whoever, pick your program, even if they're real chances to win a national title haven't changed that much. Their chance to have a chance to win a national title has increased just exponentially over the last few years. So instead of 4 teams giving a damn in November, you've got 30 teams giving a damn in November. But what that also does is everybody now wants to be in that group. And so, well, we can't do things that might jeopardize our chances to get in that group. We can't go play Notre Dame and Penn State in September, because if we lose both those games, then our chances to do this in December are already over, and there's no reason to keep playing.
What interests me this year is that now we've gone through a season where we've seen the 12-team playoff. And as Ole Miss and Alabama and South Carolina can attest, 3 losses is disqualifying. And if you get to 3 losses in October, there were always, in years past, there were always teams that maybe started slow but finished hot and went to a bowl game and had momentum and the fans got excited. Almost wonder if that's not eliminated, but if it's really lessened the likelihood of that. Because now when a team loses 3 games, those of us who cover these things kind of objectively are going to have to say, well, in all likelihood, the playoffs are out. If the goal was to make the playoffs, and that is the goal for the majority of SEC teams, it's to find a way to get to the playoff. Once you lose a 3rd game, and that can happen in October, you're out. And I do wonder what happens not only with those teams, but with fan bases. Do fans keep coming to games when the games have no national meaning?
It changes the conversation. I mean, Missouri went 10-3 last year. But they had kind of the scenario you're talking about, like blown out, embarrassed by A&M on national television, embarrassed by Alabama on national television. And I told people then, I said, it's over. You're not going to the playoff. And they wanted to insist if we beat South Carolina and win out. I think it was proven that wouldn't have happened, but that we're splitting hairs here. Point being, like, it was the 8th 10-win season in school history, and you came away from it going, I don't know, man. Felt kind of disappointing. Like, that's crazy. But that's where we're at. The goal was to make the playoff, and you didn't make the playoff. It has become so much more the NFL, right? If your NFL team does not make the playoffs, it's a bad year. If you make the playoffs, you now have a chance. And again, college football, when we were growing up, and even for a lot of the time we've covered it, the beauty to me was that it wasn't the NFL. It just is now. It's the NFL with less talent now, and we approach it the same way. The goal is to make the playoffs. If you didn't, you didn't really have a very good year.
All right, you're a smarter guy than me. I've asked this of people. I think Eli Drinkwitz sort of referenced this. He talked about big picture a good bit in Atlanta, is my understanding. Everyone says, yeah, college football is becoming the NFL, except it doesn't have collective bargaining. It doesn't have unionization. It doesn't have an agreement. It doesn't have a contract. It's got this weird cap that's being sued that's not real. You've got Lane Kiffin coming out last week saying there's teams that are ignoring the cap, et cetera. I know you're around a coach like I am who sometimes is pretty willing to talk big picture sort of openly and honestly. From talking to him and from what you've observed, where's this all headed?
Court, right? I mean, that's where it's ultimately headed. I mean, I think we both have agreed for years, the only way this eventually ends is that they're employees. Like, I don't see any other possible way that this ends. But the problem is, how long does it take? I mean, the reason we're where we are at today is because the NCAA fought for amateurism for so long, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now they're going to fight. Now they're going to fight against employment for however long. They're wanting executive orders signed and all this to protect that. So, are we in 15 years going to look back and go, this is always where it was going? Why didn't we just do this in the beginning? Like, if we would have just agreed with Ed O'Bannon when he first brought this up, like, it wouldn't have been this painful to get here.
Yeah, no, there's no question about that. So what are you sort of saying? I think you're saying what sort of Tyler Siskey says on McCready and Siskey all the time, which is football, at least at the Big Four, Power Four level or whatever, has to break away, essentially privatize and make them employees?
I think football and men's basketball, I think they should be employees if they want. They should be employees that wear the shirts that say the school they're representing, right? If they want to go to class and get a degree, that's great. That can be part of their employment. If they can attend whatever classes they want to, and if they do all the right classes to walk out of here with a degree, that's awesome. What I actually think makes the most sense and what I would support, and I know it's not going to happen, or at least probably not during either of our lifetimes. I think the rest of the sports outside of those two on these campuses should go to a Division III model, which is, yeah, you can come here and play sports. We'd love to have you. We're not paying for it. Like, there's no scholarships. If you can get an academic, I had a kid that played Division II baseball and a kid that was a Division III swimmer. Like, there was never any chance they were going pro and doing all this. They wanted to keep playing their sport. So they found a place they could do it, got a college degree while doing it. And I think that's great, and I think that's what these sports outside of football and men's basketball should do, because we're running this system where, and not to get too political, right? But nobody supports everybody is equal until it comes to their sports teams, right? They support a different model in life than they do in athletics.
Yes.
But they aren't all equal.
No.
The only reason all of this stuff exists, I talked to somebody.
Not to interrupt you, but we've had this entire debate all weekend. I've kind of watched it with amusement. Like, why are we arguing about this? But we're having this WNBA debate where the players come out and say, "Pay us what you owe us," and everybody's like, "Well, do you want to really break that down?" And and it leads to this really interesting conversation. Yeah. But yeah, it's not all even, right? I mean, it's not. You're not saying that the people that play women's basketball at the SEC level are worse people. Are there less value than the men
or
men's college?
They don't try any less hard. They put in every bit as much time. But
one I talked, and one doesn't, and it just is what it is.
I talked to somebody that is in college football earlier this summer, and we were talking about all this stuff. And this person said, there's coaches in other sports that are upset that football is going to get 80% of the money or whatever. And this person said, you want to talk about revenue sharing? We'll share all the revenue you make. Because for most of them, it's zero. It's negative. There is no money there to be shared. I don't see how it can. I don't know. We say this all the time, right? I don't see how it can work. But I also 5 years ago didn't see people paying $600,000 just for a kid to come play football at their school, and I was wrong about that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's for people like you and me who are emotionally distanced from it. I think sometimes it's hard to remember how emotional it is to people, and I mean, I would have thought.
How many people will post on your board? When you have a board again here coming up in a few days,
I have a board.
Yeah, but that the best years of their lives were spent in Oxford, Mississippi, and coming back to the Grove those are the 8 best days of their year, and bringing their son to watch a game in the stadium that they watched games. And that's the pull here. Like, you and I have said it just privately over and over. You can't kill that, man.
I agree.
It doesn't matter what you do, but that doesn't mean that for the people involved, it makes any sense to do it this way. It's two separate conversations. College football is never going away. It's never getting killed. But also at some point, why are they paying for the volleyball team to fly from State College to Los Angeles? That's stupid.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I told you this. It stuck out to me last year. You've covered a game in Oxford. The press box is closed. It's a little sterile. You hear the crowd, but you don't really feel the crowd. Does that make sense?
Right.
100%. You hear the noise, but the noise is very muffled. You know it's loud, but you can't really feel it. Yeah, when they fire the cannon or something in the end zone, you hear that, but it's different. And it was Ole Miss in Georgia. It was last November. It was a 2:30 game. So it started in the daylight. It was like a light rain all day. And by the time it ended, it was dark. And I got down to the field with about 6 minutes left. Ole Miss had the game in hand. I mean, I guess Georgia, there was still a world where Georgia could come back and win, but it was a very minuscule chance. And I remember walking out of the tunnel and into the end zone, kind of down near the goal line on Ole Miss's sideline, and just looking into the crowd. And it was like watching people have a religious experience.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I think it's an advantage mostly. Maybe it's a disadvantage at times, but I think for the two of us, we're pretty similar. We're just not emotionally attached to it. And so I was looking at it, and I felt like I was kind of having it's like a weird experience. We were watching, you were like in a church, but not really in the church, and you're watching all these people have this religious experience that you're not feeling, but you can clearly observe it. And I thought to myself, we can't break this thing. This is unbreakable. I don't. Yeah, maybe they don't know the players. Maybe they'll get to where they don't know any of the players. Maybe they'll even get to a place where the players don't go to school anymore. Like you said, it's people that go to Athens 7 times a year, and that's their favorite place on earth. It's where they meet family and friends and stuff, and they get together at Ole Miss. They tailgate in the same spot with the same people, and I think it's too strong of a pull to break. Now, it might fray a little in some spots, especially if you're not winning, right? But I think what solidified that is, I've told this story. I went to Caroline's senior, her last dad's weekend, and it was Arkansas, LSU in Fayetteville at 6:00 at night. Arkansas had already lost, I don't know, 4 games, 5 games. No one in that stadium thought Arkansas was going to the playoffs. I'll tell you that. Right. And yet it was still full, just packed. The whole campus that day was just packed, And I was like, And then the Georgia Ole Miss game happened, and I just thought it's not breakable. And I've been saying that all along, that I was wrong when I thought this stuff would break it. Yeah, I was wrong. I'll admit it.
Because nothing about sports fandom is logical. And I think most sports fans even realize it, right? We're all cheering for Laundry, right? I mean, we've all had a player that is on the team we like, and when he goes to the other team, he sucks. We didn't like that guy anyway. Well, yeah, you just don't like the clothes he's wearing now. It's fine to admit that, but and I think you and I view so many of these things the same way, but I talked to you the day after the Thunder won, and you were just so happy for your kid.
Yeah.
Right. I remember I thought it was cool that the Royals went to back-to-back World Series. Don't get me wrong. That was fun for me. But what I most remember about it is being able to take my kid to the games.
Yeah.
Or when the Chiefs won their first Super Bowl in 50 years, the reason it was fun was because I met my son in Omaha, Nebraska, and we drank for 10 hours and watched the game together. That's way better than if I was sitting on my couch watching. It's like you're connecting. They're a proxy for the people you watch with and the emotional connection. And that's even more true in college, because in college, there is some level of that kid made the same choice I made when I was 17 years old to come do this here. Now, what has changed is he might have also made a choice to do it at 3 other places, now.
But in the past, he did. In the past, the kid that went to Alabama stayed at Alabama. The kid that went to Louisiana Tech stayed at Louisiana Tech. Like when I was a kid, I've told this story. When I was a kid, Karl Malone, forget the personal stuff now. I didn't know. Right. Karl Malone was a basketball player at Louisiana Tech. He played for 3 seasons at Louisiana Tech. He was a stud. They went to the Sweet 16 and came this close to the Elite 8. And who knows how far they would have gone. Well, in today's world, he doesn't play 3 seasons at Louisiana Tech. He maybe plays 1, and then he's playing at LSU, Tennessee, Kansas, because he's getting
And
paid.
so the interesting part for fans, I think, will be going forward is you're still going to love the program, but individually, I think it has to be I think Ole Miss fans, Jackson Dart was there long enough. He's probably one of their guys, right?
He was there 3 years, absolutely.
But so let's say next year, Lane goes and finds it, and I don't know how old Simmons is, so this might not make sense. But whenever he's done, let's say Lane goes, finds a grad transfer quarterback, and that kid leads Ole Miss to a national title game appearance, win or lose.
Okay.
He is up there with Eli Manning and whoever the most beloved players in the history of the program are. But if he comes in and goes 7-5, nobody cares about it. And I think that's the
He's
difference,
forgotten.
right?
Yeah.
Because like in the only recent example I can come up with at Missouri is, Kobe Brown played 4 years of college basketball here. He got better every year. He turned himself into a first-round pick. He led the program's first NCAA tournament win in 13 years. He didn't go to a Final Four or anything. Nobody's listing him as one of the 10 greatest players in Missouri history. But there's an affinity there because of the path he took versus had he been the 1-year rental who did those same exact things.
Oh, absolutely. All right, last thing with you, and I appreciate all your time. Cubs Royals tonight at Wrigley. Your Royals fandom has diminished to the point where you will watch how many of the 27 scheduled innings of the series?
I don't. It just kind of depends. Tonight I'm going out with my wife for our anniversary, so I probably
happy
will not
anniversary!
watch
How long?
tonight.
How many years?
24.
24 years.
Been a minute. Tuesday.
He's a saint.
I think.
God,
I think. I think we're doing a live show Tuesday night, so I probably won't watch then. If Wednesday's an afternoon game, I may flip it on. I don't know. I'll go over under of 5.5 innings over the next 3 days.
Which is wild because when I first got to know you, you were a devout Royals fan. I mean, you were locked in.
Oh, yeah. I watched a lot of really bad baseball for a long time. But also, here's the thing, and I don't know if this happened with you with the Cubs in 2016, but when the Royals won in 2015, I consciously told people, I said, I've gotten everything I ever need. I don't care if they ever win another one. Like, I want them to, but I'm not going to get angry. It's no longer going to be like I'm going to watch all these. Last year, they made the playoffs, and I watched the playoffs. I watched all 6 games they played in the playoffs. I will do that. I was actually had a conversation with a friend of mine a couple months ago. Like, regular season baseball kind of sucks, man. It's really kind of boring.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it, and it takes a long time, and I just don't have the bandwidth for it anymore.
Yeah, my Cubs fandom definitely changed after they won the World Series. There was something. I still cheer for them. I still keep up with them, but like, I used to get really pissed off when they lost. Like a big game or a big series or something or a playoff thing. And now I'm like, no, I asked for one. You gave me one. I'm good. Like, I'd love for them to do it again. But also, in 2016, Carson was 10 years old and he was jacked. Now he doesn't keep up with baseball at all. He probably couldn't name 3 Cubs. And so, because his allegiance shifted to the Thunder and to Chelsea.
I can only name 3 Cubs if Pete and Crow and Armstrong count as 3 different people. That's the only way. But also, like, it goes back to the Scheffler thing, right? It's you work and work and work, and you invest and invest and invest, and then they win, and you go, now what? Like, okay, cool. We've done it. There's not a higher plane here.
No.
I've had everything I can have. All I can do now is get that again, and it's not as cool the next time.
Yeah, Carson one time said, "Oh, just let him win it one time." I'm like, "Don't say that. That's gonna ruin some of it for you." And he looked at me like I was an alien. I'm like, "No, just trust me."
Like, he could be a lifelong Thunder fan. SGA could become Michael Jordan and win 6 rings, and none of them will ever be as cool as that. That just happened.
That's what I told him that night when it was over. I'm like, "That was just so you know, that's the highlight of. That's it. That's it.
It's never
good as it gets."
Right. So think about anything in your life. If somebody had told you at 18 years old, you've already experienced the best thing you're ever going to experience. Well, what the Christ am I going to do for the next 70 years, man? like at 18 years old or 23 years old, you're working in Mobile, and somebody said that's the best story you're ever going to write in your career.
Oh, man.
Why am I going to keep going for another 40 years, man?
All right, last thing.
Like we both know this is the best podcast that we're ever going to do. After today, man, it's all down.
Yeah, people hate me, right? What is the best story you ever wrote?
Man. I think the one that that I enjoyed doing the most probably was in 2017. I did a 5-year look back at Missouri joining the SEC and got Gary Pinkel and the athletic director and the chancellor, and I got Bernie Machin, who at the time was like the president of the presidents of the SEC, and Clay Travis and a couple of people that covered it to like, all right, let's like tell the truth here. Let's tell all this stuff. And like Mike Alden opened fire on Oklahoma and Texas, and that was the one I probably enjoyed doing the most. That people still sometimes are like, hey, I want to read it. Either that or Missouri just got the number 5 basketball player in the country. So I'm sure Missouri fans would say that's the best story I've ever written, even though it was probably crap and a third grader could have done it.
You spent a week at Peach Jam.
I did.
What was that like?
Long? No, it was. It wasn't. I expected it to be awful. It wasn't awful because like we all, and I know people that listen to you and me get tired of us, like of the big J journalism crap, but like you get into this to tell, you don't get into this because you're like, hey, I want to go watch Ole Miss play Georgia Tech and the Tax Slayer Bowl or whatever. Like you get into it to tell stories and to learn stuff that everyday people can't learn. And so I got to go see, they gave me access to watch Dennis Gates at a coaching clinic. I got to go kind of behind the scenes with a couple kids down there. So that part was fun. And it was a good validation for me that if I am forced to, or if I choose to, I still might be decent at doing this. I don't want to have to prove that very often, but it's good. Like whoever a good pitcher in baseball is anymore, I don't know any of them, but whoever it is, like he doesn't throw 99 every time, but it's good to know 99's there if he absolutely has to have it,
Yeah.
So that was good.
It was why when Chase left my old site to go to the new site, right. The timing of it, I had to cover baseball, and I'd not covered college baseball in 16 years. And it was kind of fun to just kind of do it, not for any reason other than I could tell myself, oh, you can still do this. You're still capable of finding a story and building a story and writing a story that people read and think that was passable. So yeah, it was that was a good thing.
I choose not to most times, but if I have to do it, I can do it.
Hey Gabe, appreciate your time very much, man. Thanks.
All right, no worries, man. Hey, you're about to go from working 3 days a week to working 24/7, so we're excited about it.
That's what I'm told. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Have a good one.
That was Gabe DeArmond. Appreciate him spending some time with us. I'll take your thoughts in the stream in just a minute. First, I do want to take care of a few things. Thank some of the people who make our shows possible. Big thanks to Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great people, products, and services. If you're in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, that area, give the people at Comer a call, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern, 662-429-4429. Oxford locals, Ole Miss families. If you need dry cleaning or laundry done right, Lapel's Dry Cleaning has you covered. They've got free pickup and delivery. Just call 662-638-3149 to be added to their pickup and delivery route. Visit them at 3010 Old Taylor Road, right across from the Mark Condominiums. Mention MPW Digital. It's 50% off your first order. If you're retiring soon, you need to know, how long should you wait to take Social Security? What accounts should you pull from first? Are you already retired? Should you consider Roth conversions? These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with the personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Seago, Seago Wealth Management, specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan. It's rebelsretire.com. We're also brought to you by Arnett's Fine Jewelry. It's a fourth-generation jeweler located in the old Landman's Building on North Lamar Avenue in Oxford. They've got everything you could want in terms of your jewelry needs. Also a great place for gifts, birthdays, graduations, anniversaries. So Gabe should have gone shopping at Arnett's. Arnett's wants to be your jeweler. Getting ready for the football season, 8 games at Vaught Hemingway. So you're going to need different colors, different T-shirts, polos, quarter zips, sweatshirts. They've got it all at the College Corner. Also autograph and football helmets, autograph footballs, autograph helmets in stock. 2 locations in Jackson, one in Oxford, just off of Sisk Avenue in the Oxford Commons, as well as collegecornerstore.com. We're also brought to you by Argent Wealth. They're located in Ridgeland, Mississippi. Clients in more than 20 states. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. It's myargentwealth.com. Brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're thinking about planning a trip that you want to create a lifetime of unique memories, get in touch with John. Give him a budget. Give him some parameters. He's going to help you find options that you're not going to find on your own. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. Get the beautiful, healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile, from routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign. Corinth Dental, here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself at corinthdental.com. Also brought to you by Parish Brewing Company. Wherever you look for beer, look for Parish Brewing Company. Dr. Juice, Ghost in the Machine, Envy, and much, much more. You won't regret when you look for beer. It's your favorite bar. It's your favorite grocery store. Look for Parish Brewing Company. And the mailbag will be coming back to you soon. Got some mailbags I'll catch up on. Art Hayes, Sotheby's International Realty, makes those possible. If you're thinking of making a move, put the power of Sotheby's to work for you. As a licensed agent with Sotheby's and a supporter of all things Ole Miss, Art can help you buy or sell in your hometown or anywhere in the world at no charge to you. Seriously. So call and ask Art how. 612-805-5929 or email art at arthur.hayes@lakesmn.com. Peyton, yeah, I was at Good Day Saturday. It was my first time there, I think. I think I may have been there once before. Taylor Zarzer and I got breakfast there one day. He was in town to call an Ole Miss game, and we caught up there a little bit, but I can't remember. That was the first time I've been there for lunch or whatever. It was great. My wife got the burger. I got the fish sandwich. Her burger was amazing. The fish sandwich was really good too. So I might have missed some other things. Just catching you guys up on the schedule for the week. I don't know about tomorrow morning. I'm working on a couple of things. I don't really have a place to ask for mailbag questions other than Twitter or X. People don't really respond there anymore. I don't have a message board to do that on right now. So it's hard for me to accrue enough mailbag questions to do a mailbag podcast. I've got at least one interview and maybe 2 scheduled that I'll turn into a show. Not sure about Wednesday just because of stuff that's going on at my house. I'm not sure how loud it will be. I anticipate Thursday being normal. And then, of course, Chase will be back next week as we'll get closer to the start of preseason camp. He'll have coverage at his site from camp. I'll have coverage those first couple of days for MPW Digital, and then we'll be back together again come August the 1st. But got to wait until August the 1st. Yeah, Matt says my favorite story is the strip club one. It's the one people like to hear about. I don't know that it was my favorite story I've ever worked on. I'm not really sure what my favorite story is, honestly. Probably a couple of the stories I worked on in Mobile are the ones that kind of stick out in my mind. I did a big story on Devontae Shuler once that I was really proud of, that I thought was really good journalism. But I don't know. I don't know that I have a quote favorite, end quote. I've done some that I really like, and there's some stories that I wanted to do that I didn't get done that I thought would have been good. But it's harder and harder to tell those stories in this era. I was having this conversation with someone the other day on Saturday about that very topic. The way that media relations is now at the college level, they sort of control who we get. And sometimes we get a good story, but we didn't know about that story before everybody got it at once. And then everybody just vomits it right away. And the good story never gets told. Just the surface of the good story gets told. That happens a lot. Matt says, I know it's not. My favorite part was with the Lane Kiffin rant. Yeah, it wasn't really a rant. It wasn't a rant at all. It was just kind of me saying, you should do this. That's a funny thing that I have with people that gets identified. And I'm clearly wrong because 99% of the public viewed that as a rant. I didn't view it as a rant at all. I viewed it as just like, what are you doing? You're at this place. I have a ladder analogy in life a little bit. If you're at the top of a ladder, think about it. If you're cleaning windows or you're cleaning your gutters or something like that, and you're at the top of a ladder, you better be really careful because that fall can be catastrophic. You could get bad hurt. You could suffer a permanent injury falling off the top of a ladder. So you don't take a lot of risk at the top of a ladder. If you've got the same ladder and you're on the first step, I mean, I guess you could fall and kind of sprain an ankle or something maybe, but you're not getting hurt. You're not suffering a permanent injury from the first step of a ladder. So if you're at the bottom of a ladder, you don't really have to be careful. You can take risk. You can reach out and grab something. Someone can throw you a bottle of water. You can catch it, whatever. If you lose your balance, you're not getting hurt. Ole Miss was at the bottom of the ladder at the end of the 2019 season. They were irrelevant. Nobody was talking about Ole Miss. Nobody was thinking about Ole Miss. Ole Miss just didn't matter. Ole Miss in an SEC conversation, Ole Miss didn't come up. You didn't talk about Ole Miss being a contender. You didn't talk about Ole Miss being like Vanderbilt at the time. They were just there. They weren't a factor. And so my point that day wasn't, it was just, yeah, there's some risk associated with Lane Kiffin, but now's the time to take risks because if it doesn't work out, who cares? I mean, the difference between 4-8 and 2-10 is negligible. No one cares. No one cares about 4-8. No one cares about 2-10. So in a world where it's just a disaster, okay. And the point that I was making was if it's a disaster, his career's over. And I just didn't think it would be a disaster. I thought he would be a fit. I'd written as much 2 years earlier, and I thought he fit Ole Miss from a personality standpoint in a lot of ways. I've had people ask me, are you surprised it's worked out as well as it has with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss and stuff? And I know what they're getting at. Like, are you surprised he's still there? And I'm like, well, I think he's surprised he's still here. But no, am I surprised it really worked out? Nope. I thought there was a real chance that it really worked out. And I guess there was a real chance that it didn't. I mean, in that first year, a lot of the things that were risky came to fruition. He didn't have a lot of focus. The program didn't have a lot of direction, the whole COVID thing and all of that stuff. And there were some squirrely times. There were some times there where probably some people thought this isn't going to work. But once he found his stride, he's been a perfect fit. He fits culturally with Ole Miss in a lot of ways. That was my point. I'm not pushing back on the rant thing. I've never thought of it as a rant. I just kind of thought of it as me going, this makes sense. Because I looked at it. I guess I don't like the word rant sometimes because a rant sounds emotional. And I wasn't emotional about it. I just, like, if you don't hire him, you don't hire him. Somebody else will hire him, whatever. I mean, it wasn't that. I just was like, I was a little bewildered that morning that he was trying to get Ole Miss's attention and was unable to do so. And people do this argument both ways about what role that podcast played in his being hired at Ole Miss. And I'm just going to respectfully decline to ever go there again because it gets people so worked up. But on that Tuesday morning, per sources close to Lane Kiffin, he was reaching out to Ole Miss to no avail. Was that because of me? I don't know. Was that because of other people on campus who had relationships with him, who were able to get through to people at Ole Miss and convince them to listen? Absolutely. Would Ole Miss have hired Lane Kiffin had it not been for our podcast? I don't know. You'd have to ask Keith Carter that. I know Chase has asked him. I don't remember what the answer was. You'd have to ask the chancellor that. And I doubt if the chancellor knows who I am. So that would be an interesting question to ask because I don't think we've ever met. I highly doubt if he knows who I am. So you'd have to ask him, did that podcast play a role at all? And I don't know. But it's been one hell of a fit for Ole Miss, that's for sure. Catching up on the conversation here. I don't know what we're talking about. I'm missing part of that. Oh, about the whole concert, the Coldplay thing. The only thing I'll say about the whole Coldplay thing is all the people pushing back at Coldplay. Take a look at the audiences, man. That place is packed. I've said this story. I went to a Coldplay concert in Houston back in 2011 or 2012. They were fantastic in person. You can take my man card if you want to. I loved it. It was great. My wife and I were looking at trying to get to the one in Nashville. I think it's tomorrow night. Tickets are, the get-in price is $580 before fees. So we're not going. And I got to pick up Carson from the airport. He gets back from Finland Wednesday. So it was going to be a little much. But all the Coldplay slander is weird to me. That's people doing that whole, how can you admit you like Coldplay? When you see a band pack stadiums like that day after day after day, they have mainstream appeal. They're good. Doors asks, why is Trump doing this Redskins deal? I don't know why Trump's doing a lot of things these days. He's off message right now. He's completely off message. He's doing some good things, but the people around him are not doing him any favors right now. It's my opinion. Ben says, I've ever had pineapple on pizza. I don't like pineapple at all. No, I've not ever had pineapple on pizza. My favorite pizza is sausage and jalapeno. That's my favorite. I like Canadian bacon and pepperoni. I don't put pineapple on pizza. I don't like pineapple on anything. I agree with Mark. The past couple of weeks haven't been kind to Trump. Yeah, he's lost his see people comparing Coldplay to Nickelback. I agree. I disagree, Ben. But that's a thing in society, a male thing that I've just never gotten into. I don't know what it says about me. The whole, you have to like certain things to be a guy. I don't know what that means. I'm pretty secure in my sexuality, even though I like Coldplay. I don't walk around listening to Coldplay, but I would go see Coldplay in concert again. They were great. It was a phenomenal concert. Can you tell what happened with the tradition come August the 1st? I'm not sure what that means. Oh, with the transition. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it some, I'm sure. But depending on how the next 10 days go, probably. But there's some of those things that I don't know that I'd do anybody any benefits by talking about. And frankly, I probably do a handful of people a favor by not talking about those things. And we'll talk about it to some degree. But I don't know how deep we'll go into that. Grind says, is the executive order on limiting NIL going to last? I don't think he's put that executive order out yet, he being Trump. What I read from Ross Dellinger is it's still in the draft phase. And a lot of things that get in the draft phase never get out of the draft phase. I just have a difficult time believing that right now, today, in the White House, with all of the things that are going on, that there's anybody that says, hey, you know what we need to put at the top of the list today is intercollegiate athletics. I can't imagine that. You've got international conflicts. You've got this Epstein thing. You've got Pam Bondi with the Russiagate documents that they're trying to get traction. It's difficult for me to believe that anywhere in the White House, at some point in the next few weeks, someone goes, hey, what we ought to do is put out an executive order about college athletics. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong on a lot of things. I just don't think that works. Matt asked about site names. August 1st, I would think. I'm trying to be careful what I say there. August 1st. Field goal challenge that me and Chase had. Yeah, we did the soccer challenge, the field goal challenge. I've played 2 rounds of golf as part of MPW Digital. Yeah, we've had some fun times. Hope to have a lot more fun times over the next few weeks. So thanks to everybody for being with us. Again, thanks to Gabe DeArmond for his time today on BlueSky Live. I don't know the schedule, but we'll be back. We'll have more shows throughout the course of the week. Tyler Siskey and I will be with you at 2:00 for McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. Until then, take care.